Item number 5 on the agenda is Statewide Interoperability Executive Committee update. Mark here? Yes, sir. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. If I could just step back a second on that last agenda item. I know Captain Worrell was here. I think you may want to go back and look at what we talked about as we originally designed the plans that were sold to the legislature, and that was AIRS would be the short-term kind of statewide solution, and then this group adopted the 700, 800 megahertz microwave backbone system, the connectivity to the local areas, and of course the economy took a dump, and that's where the funding went. Part of that's been built out, certainly not what was presented and approved. So that's an area maybe you should go back and explain why we're not where we're at today and what we could work towards the future on. That's something we might want to revisit. So anyway, I didn't mean to digress. Anyway, thanks for having me here today. I'm here with Captain Mike Seiko as co-chair, so I'll do the presentation and he'll answer any questions that you have. We'll try to get through this relatively quickly. We had our last meeting on October 15th, our basic agenda items. There's really only the center there on the annual review of our PSPs that we'll talk about here. Agenda item 9 is actually covered later on the broadband system. So we'll talk about the PSPs. Really, we're looking at going through, I don't want to read the slides to you, but every quarter reviewing some of the policy standards and procedures. This one, a lot was on the AIR system, primarily was on the AIR system. 2 of these are just informational to you. The other 2 you're going to vote on the next agenda item. So we'll just hit those quickly. So on the state plan, really just cleaned it up a lot. Took out the NIFOG tables because that was duplication in another area that we had in the plan. And of course, the more times you have it in there, the more chances for error. So let's just have it in one place, it's easy to find. And updated some of the different things that changed with monitoring, site locations, and reformatted it to be consistent with the other PSPs. Really no actions required by you, and it's cleaned it up and it's been posted on the website. The next one was the sustainability plan. This was really within the last year a new PSP that would allow areas that wanted to build out the AIR system to do it on their own with some guidelines. So again, we just had to clean it up, get it back into the same format as the other PSPs, and that's on the website also. If you have any questions, you can ask Captain Seiko. These next 2 are the ones that you'll probably want a little more information on as we go through. This one had 2 primary areas of changing on the land mobile equipment standards, minimum equipment standards. And these really come into play, especially when folks are going out for grant money through Homeland Security and stuff, that can come back and make sure we're meeting the minimum standards and hopefully we'll be able to be interoperable. So first change on here was really the display size, more with the UHF and 800 frequencies needing to go to 8 characters. We almost changed the VHF to 8 characters also until we had a comment from the public talking about how many of the fire districts are using the Bendix King radios that only have 7 characters. And honestly, there's nothing else in the VHF that would require 8 characters, so we left the VHF at 7 characters. The second change to the programming guide was adding something for multi-band radios, obviously becoming much more common, and there was no section identifying the minimum standards for the multi-spectrum radios or multi-band radios. Really just adding that in there. So those were the 2 primary changes. The rest was just really that formatting stuff and adding a definition section, etc. So a couple of things that we didn't include or didn't approve as far as changes. There was a recommendation to increase the number of channels. Certainly that would be nice, but when we're looking at minimum standards, we didn't want to add expense to departments that really didn't need it. So we did not include Same thing with the VHF frequency range, to expand it beyond what our standard VHF is for our public safety, to get into some of the federal frequency ranges. Again, so few of us really use that it added expense that we didn't think was necessary. So we did not include those changes. Any questions on this part, since you will be voting on this for next? Okay. The next one is on the plan itself. There's our Interoperable Challenge Plan. This had 4 changes, 4 primary changes, and then a few other cleanup things at the end that we'll talk about. Title, again, kind of combined 2 things, so take it just from the challenge plan to the challenge plan priority programming guide. Pretty straightforward on that. There was also a footnote that we're recommending be removed because it's outdated, it's obsolete. Everyone has progressed beyond this. Adding a footnote in for the mixed mode radios, that they are capable of being programmed in mixed analog, digital, or mixed mode. They should use the mixed mode to get just clarification for folks with those radios and to get the programming folks out there. Fourth change was just putting a footnote in about the moving it from the original AIRS SOP into this, since we combined the guidelines about the restrictions for the ATAC channel that were specific for Arizona. And then the cleanup of the formatting, the definitions, etc. Questions on that one? You're getting off easy, Mike. So our next meeting is January 21st in this room. And that concludes my presentation. Blade, you're up.